So just refresh your app, and all the new times will be up there. Our online schedule has not yet been updated, but that's because I haven't had a chance to sit at my computer yet. So that being said, the app is the most up-to-date, has the most up-to-date information. We do have, like I said, a lot going on. If there's a plus by your photo op listing, then stay here in the theater, we'll call you over. If the photo op listing does not have a plus by it, I don't care what anybody else says, if there's no plus by that means go straight to the photo op room at that time, okay? Autographs are gonna be happening here unless it says vendors. If there says vendors, they're gonna be in the vendors area. Also, if there's a star by your listing, tap that listing and you're gonna see instructions on what to do. What we call if you haves. If you have this meet and greet and this photo op, do this first. So we try to catch a lot of those conflicts for you, work them out for you in advance. But if there's something we didn't catch because we are human, please feel free to ask. We're here to make sure you have a great time. So who's ready to have a great time today? Well, we're gonna kick this off with some music, so let's bring out Loud and Swaying, Jason Mann, and Creation's own Adam Malin.
What's up, Dallas? Can I tell you guys something? Y'all are lucky for a number of reasons, but one of them is that your host, both of them, the one I'm going to bring out right now, one of the most talented fellers in the building. If you don't know, now you know. Please put your hands together for the one and the only, Mr. Benedict!
A day we like to call Jensen and Jared Day. Those two men are in the building. I'm very sure that they're going to come out on this very stage. And you get to see them with your own eyes and smell them with your own nose. If you haven't smelled them before, they smell, well, they smell like heaven. If heaven had a smell, surely it smells like apples and padalecki. But speaking of smelling, the person I'm about to bring on stage,
Here now, I'm gonna turn just the day of the day. The day, the very day that you're going to the stage and give you what you came for. Purity born in the denim. Absolute glorious hair. Fabulous symmetrical features. Incredibly tight pants. Pants that looked like they were graffitied on by a street artist. Pants that are so tight their skin is practically outside of the denims. Pants that are so tight that we have to cut slits in their muscle and fat and tendon every 6 inches apart around their waist to get their belt through. It's a god-awful mess. But hey, we don't do the shopping. You know what I mean? We didn't pick the pants. Hell no.
Hashtag we didn't pick the pants.
We didn't pick the pants. And Robbie's right. Oh, the smell. Oh, the smell. Now, typically, we play a much smaller stage, way lower. So the smell, like Shamu's water, gets soaked up by the first 2 rows. It just comes out and goes kersplash across all you, and a lot of you'll see at different shows, a lot of ponchos down here.
And you know, the cologne they're wearing is actually called Shamu's water.
That's right, Robbie's not rolling. But the good thing is they're so high this time. They're so tall already, and then on this stage, elevated so high, that their musk will drift throughout this entire room. So you in the back row, you there, yes, you, I'm talking to you, put down your phone. You too will be able to smell them. Oh sure, they'll look like action figures from back there, but they'll smell like the real people. They're gonna smell like the real deal. And if I were you right here, I'd be on bended knee on this, the Sabbath for many religions. On bended knee, praying to the gods, to Rob Benedict, praying that one or both of them wear bell bottoms. Because if they do, God is my witness, Rob is my witness, you might be able to see upstairs. You might be able to catch a glimpse of the treasures that lie.
An up pant photo.
If you wore your mirrored shoes and they wear bell bottoms, you don't know what you might see. You have no idea. Now right now there's one person on stage who's concerned, worried, because he's the main character, he's the moral center of the weekend, and he doesn't like where I'm going with this joke. And that man is Jason Vance. Jason Vance is worried right now. He's like, don't do it, Rich. Don't do the reflective shoes and bell bottoms bit. I beg you. He was backstage. He's like, look, I know what you're thinking. We're on a high stage. You're going to do the bit about seeing the buried treasure if they're wearing the bell bottoms and the reflective shoes. And I said, I'm just giving people hope, Jason. I'm a hope giver. I'm not a dream maker. I can't conjure these things, Robbie. You know what I mean?
You're also giving a nice suggestion for the future.
I'm just saying. I'm just
sort of a how to be a creep.
A lot of mirrored shoes out here in the front row with their ponchos and mirrored shoes. If I don't give you hope, if we don't have hope, what do we have? Reality? Oh, pass. You know what I mean? Hard pass for me. I'll live in a world of dreams and hope, thank you very much. And it is my dream and my hope that you are having a fantastic weekend here in Dallas in the Supernatural. The Supernatural and Al-Con. The Supernatural and Winchesters and WalkerCon. So what? That's what it is. It's Espinua.
Espinua.
Or it could be Espinua.
We got it.
I think we got it.
My job is done.
I'm going to retire the microphone.
Where are you going this weekend? I'm going to the Aspen
I'm
Weewalk.
going to Aspen Weewalk. What are you most excited about? Well, I'm looking forward to the Wii, and obviously a big fan of the Wah. But the spin,
Spin's my
I'm more of a spin guy.
Dave.
But some people are Wii people, some people are Wah people, don't like the Wii Wah. Some people watch it in different orders. Some people watch it in a little Wii, a little spin, and a little Wah. It's my spin Wah.
When you watch the Wah, you wah-wah?
No, but when you watch the spin, sometimes you wee-wee.
Oh.
So, you just never know. Speaking of wee-wee, what a concert last night, huh? You didn't see the ankles coming, did you? Kaboom, right on the left side. So if you were at home last night going, I'm going to sit this one out, and suddenly checked your Twitter feed and realized that Jensen Ackles made a surprise appearance at Saturday Night Special. Let that be a lesson to you. Do not stay home on Saturday night. Be here in this room, see this band, and all the tricks they have up their sleeve. And by the way, they've been delivered at a high level all weekend long. Round of applause for my buddy back here. Obviously sitting in them right now. We got Adam Bayless on the keyboard, nailing it down. We got Mr. Jason Manns on the shaker doing his thing. We got Robot Michael on the bass guitar, you know we do. Keeping the rhythm alive and well and bumping in your heart all day long, every day. That's Stephen Norton on the scale. And right here, blowing your mind, breaking your hearts, this is Billy Moran on the 6th string. And fronting this ensemble, my buddy, my pal, my comedy muse, right there, Rob Benedict. Nice one, guys. Thank you.
Shout out, thank you to Adam Malin on
Adam Malin
keys.
right there.
Nice to have you back, Adam.
Good to have you on the stage.
And Jason Manns, as always.
There he goes. Rob,
Rich,
let's leave. Okay. Go find the next guest. You're gonna be disappointed.
ladies and gentlemen, you'll never guess who's coming up next. Guys, if you haven't seen for at least 6 seconds, give it up for Rob Benedict and Richard Speight Jr.
Well, there's a band and everything. This is so classy.
What a shock to see you guys.
By the way, nice announcing there, Steve.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Well done.
It's Steven, right?
It is Steve, yeah. I've learned from the best, Rich.
I'm Mike.
And from
Thanks, Steve.
And from you too.
I'm Mike. Thanks, Steve. I'm Mike.
I think your robot said on repeat. He keeps waving.
Sorry. Yes, you're Mike. Yes, we know. Yeah. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much,
gentlemen.
Enjoy, guys.
We will.
I'm Mike. Yes, no, we got that. We did get that.
Gotta give Mike a tune-up when we get back to the HQ.
Bye. I'm Mike. Bye. Yeah. He's never been the same ever since the lockdown. I'm Mike. Okay.
That's good. You know, Mike is he's really comfortable around the mics because he feels like they're all related.
Right.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard Speight Jr. This is Rob Benedict to my left.
Yeah. That's right.
What a show you had last night.
Did you get that piped into your hotel room, or how did you?
No, man. I checked the Twitter feed in the morning.
Oh, okay.
I woke up and I saw clips of you guys doing "Give Me a Drink," little Night Sweats tune with
Son of a
Vincent.
Bee.
Son of a
Yeah.
Bee. Sorry, yeah.
Yeah.
That song is a great song,
Yeah.
and you guys played it great last night. What a fun evening.
Yeah. It was a really fun evening. Really, really fun, and the audience was incredible. You guys were awesome.
Well done, audience. Well done.
Really, Dallas really brought it.
Yeah, that's not a lie. A lot of times Rob will say the crowd was great. Backstage, he's like, what a bunch of
Never
sleeping
ever
giants.
said that.
But
I never have.
last night, this morning ago, he was like, oh, Dallas really brought it. They were a great crowd.
That's true.
Yeah, you were honest this time.
Well,
Let's dive into it, shall we?
Yeah.
Because the line goes back as far as I can see, so we better hustle.
Wow.
Let's start right over here. You go.
And my question is, what is the most absurd or embarrassing thing you've been tricked into doing or believing?
Robbie?
man, every day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, every time I'm hanging out with this guy, something happens. Like, well, that's the most embarrassing thing I was tricked into believing. One of my favorites was, can I tell this story? Is it too early?
I don't know what the story is.
When you had me check into the hotel under name
No, it's a good
alias.
story. It's a good story. It's not a great story for like class level, but you make it classy.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, he had me check into a hotel, and he said, oh, just so you know, we're doing aliases.
Which we used to do a lot.
We used to do that a lot so that people didn't know that we were actually checked into the hotel. I said, oh, okay. And he said, this is what your name's checked into, and he...
Which happened a lot. A lot of times the handlers or the people who book us would create our own alias.
Right, so he handed me a piece of paper, and I went up to the desk, and I said, hey, my room, I'm checking in, it's under Haywood Jablome. And really what he meant was, Haywood, I was supposed to say Haywood Jablome. Haywood Jablome. But I mispronounced Jablome, and I thought the E was silent.
I actually said Haywood Jablown. It was very annoying.
Haywood Jablome. The guy was confused. I was confused. Rich was dying laughing.
And then, of course, I'm in the back going, is Haywood Jablow? Of course, then I am the one who ends up saying the bad word.
Yeah.
Because Rob messed up.
Yeah, so we all failed there.
Everybody lost. And yet, here we are winning. Because now, when we're at a convention on the Sabbath, and a child asks us a question, we have that story to go to. So thankfully,
Yeah.
everybody wins.
And then there was the time that I came to work, and I'm there waiting, and you're not there, and you text me, where are you?
Oh yeah, I realized something about Rob. It was really easy. I realized this early on in our relationship outside of conventions, is that if you text Rob something and end it with 2 question marks, he shits his pants. So that I was coming down the elevator. I was not where we were supposed to be yet. We were meeting in the lobby of the hotel. So, but I decided, just to see if he's down there, I just ran this up the flagpole. Where are you? Question mark, question mark. And that was it. That's all I sent. And literally, I almost had a cardiac event. I finally get to the lobby. It was like 30 seconds later. He's like, Christ, man, where have you been? I don't know. I mean, I got your text. I'm here. Where am I supposed to be? Are you coming to get? Are we late? Did I miss something? I'm like, no, man, I just want to know where you were. And the end of that story is, he's like, I'm here. And I've been checking out a little, bottle of hot sauce at the counter. They're checking in. She's look at her, man.
And he's like, which one? I said, the hottie with the red pants
yeah,
over
the
there.
blonde, she got the skin tight red pants. Merciful goodness, there's a lot she's doing wrong, and I think it's all right. I'm like, oh, you're talking about my wife, JC.
That's
She's
right.
at the hotel. And he's like, oh God, Rich! I'm so sorry, Rich. I lusted after your wife's bottom.
This was like 10 years ago, but I'll never live that down.
But I mean, my wife brings it up. It's a classic. and another one, I gotta say, another one happened today in the green room. I'm telling this story because it was super funny. We're all sitting around having lunch an hour ago, and everybody's talking about stunt doubles. Everybody's talking about like having a stunt double, and you see what production thinks you look like if they bring your stunt double. And some of the bigger, stronger guys are like, sometimes it's not a guy who's as fit as I am, or sometimes it's a guy with a little less hair than I have. And Tom Welling looks at Rob and is like, you must get stunt doubled by girls a lot. Which, by the way, female stunt doubles are freaking awesome, they're badasses, and yes, I would love to get fit ass. But the way...
I answered it honestly, I was like, no.
But it was a weird tee up. It's like,
big guy making fun of little guy. I get it.
Yeah, you're Superman, I'm God.
Or last night on stage, this will be my last one. On stage, Jason and I sang Hallelujah, and on the set list, Jensen was going to be the next song. We finished Hallelujah, and Jason whispers to me, oh, Jensen told me to tell you he had to take off. And I was like, wait, really? So he was like, no, I'm kidding. Oh, fucking hell, man.
That's gold.
Yeah. All right, what about you? You ever been embarrassed?
Well, I'm sure I have. Well, there was a time here in doing conventions. In Phoenix, Arizona, Rob and I were shooting the opening credit sequence to Kings of Con, the series we made. We shot, there's a lot of live convention footage that happens. And in the opening credit sequence, and we shot all of that at an actual convention in Phoenix. And we had cameras set up in the aisle, and Rob would run around, like, kind of giving high fives and stuff, and we shot all of that. And we had our camera guy, Will, with us, and then I was sort of the assistant cameraman, if you will, kind of helping set up shots. And right before we came out to do this thing, and it's fun to watch. Obviously, I want you to watch Kings of Con, the show, but go watch the credit sequence. It's really cool, because we have these really cool shots from backstage that show us silhouetted and all this footage of us running around. And we set up a camera, a low camera, about where those like silver squares on the ground are, so that we could get a nice wide low shot of Rob coming right at the camera. It's a really cool shot, high-fiving people. And we're doing that right before the Jared and Jensen panel. People know we're shooting, like, hey, we're gonna do this thing, we're shooting it, but we're doing it before the Jared and Jensen panel because we want the most people possible in the room to create the false impression that they are there for us. And so we do that, we set it up, and I don't even remember this, and I go down to make a last second adjustment, and I do it, and my pants rip from... It ripped from the nether region to the nether region.
From the north to the south.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the whole half hemisphere. And I was like, shoot, I don't have time to change pants. Because you're like, you guys were like, I was just adjusting cameras, you guys were starting to, I'm like, oh no. So I ran backwards and backed up the stairs and ran back and got Liz to get me duct tape. Then ran up my area. But that's not the part that was scary. The scary part wasn't that you might see my underwear. The scary part was that Jared would see that I had torn my pants open and had duct tape on my pants, because he would have made a sandwich out of it.
Yeah. An open-face sandwich.
An open-face sandwich, because I tell you what, the first thing that would have been in his hand, that duct tape would have been...
Exactly.
It would capture the flag. And so I literally, the whole time I brought him out, and usually Rob and I run around and do stuff, I'm like, ladies and gentlemen, Jared and Jensen! And I'm waving to the crowd, I'm like, hey, this side, hey everybody, hope you're having a good time. And then we had to leave, and I didn't want him to, I had to do like the road trip. I'm like, all right, have a good time, give Phoenix your best. Enjoy the show, everybody. Luckily I didn't get discovered, but I remember this flop sweating the whole time. Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
You.
My name's Donovan. My question is, if the situation was to ever arise, could there possibly be a backstory to Chuck and Amara before she gets thrown down and like locked up, and then possibly a second season of The Darkening of Lucifer?
Yeah, I mean, I'd love to see that show. Like, I want to know that backstory. I also would love to know the origin story of Chuck. Like, at what point did he become the vessel? Was it his whole life, or was it, you know? I'd love to have those questions answered, because at this point I can only pontificate. But yeah, I like the way you're thinking. I'd love to see that show.
You know,
put it in the works.
You know what's a funny Rob and
Emily
Swallow's story is I'd never met Emily Swallow. Rob had worked with her several times.
Played the darkness, of course.
Right. First time I met her, was at a Supernatural convention, and it was at a karaoke. Rob and I Matt Cohen and I used to host karaoke on Friday nights, and Rob would often join us for a good night out. And at this one point, no one had met Emily Swallow yet. I don't think her episodes had aired. So she was, or barely, like one, she was very new to the fandom.
Yeah.
And Rob was dressed like Khaleesi at the time, which also I think is probably important to know. So he's wearing a little white taffeta gown, a little over the shoulder number, with a tiny dragon on his shoulder, and a wig. You know,
like you do.
His salad days, we call it. Anyway, he's there, and he gets all excited because Emily's backstage, and he goes, "Oh my God, I'm so excited to bring her out. Ladies and gentlemen, my sister." And Emily comes out, and they start groping each other like it's 1988. And I'm like, dude, they think that's your sister. Like, they don't know that that's an actress. I mean, that's not how siblings greet each other in a civilized society.
It wasn't that
And I
bad.
remember thinking, wow, we better interject here and go, that's an actress, not the actual bloodline of Benedict that he's groping over here. Khaleesi is not that kind of woman. Anyway, made me laugh. Don't think about that. Thank you for your question.
Yeah, thanks, man.
Hello?
Hello, both of you guys are great. Rich, you're amazing, but my question is for Rob.
That's always how it sets up, by the way, just so you know. When you've been doing this for a while, you know that if somebody goes, oh my God, I love you so much, Rich. You're so great. Here's a detailed reason why I love you, and I enjoy everything you do. Rob, my question's for you.
Remember the time it was like someone I actually knew from home or something? They're like, hey, Rob, it's whatever, Lisa Wilson. I'm like, oh my God, how are you? She's like, that's good. My question's for Rich.
So, as you were.
So I'm sure a lot of people have seen your movie Waiting from a while back.
Yeah?
So I met Alex last time that we were here, and he mentioned to me that I should watch it, so I did, and he told me that he was like kind of starstruck from you when he first met you.
Yeah.
So then he watched it again and was like basically pointing out every little thing about like what you did. So did he treat you any differently after that?
No, he always told me that. He always told me he was a huge fan of that movie, and that he was whatever, starstruck, which is hilarious. But no, because, you know, he knows a lot of people who worked in the restaurant industry. I used to wait tables as well, so he totally got it. But no, he never treated me differently. He just always made sure that I knew that, which was really funny to me. And he really had this idea. He really wanted to make it a TV show. He wanted to make Waiting the TV show. And he still to this day keeps asking me about that. When's that gonna happen? When's that gonna happen? As if I have the rights to that. I don't. But I think it would be a good idea. I'd be in. Yeah, it was fun. That movie was fun, and it warms my heart that Alex knows about it.
Yeah, he mentioned that to us, that he was like, that's something I've pitched to him and stuff.
Yeah.
He was like, maybe he could even cast me in it.
Yeah.
I need a job. So,
I know.
It was a great movie, very funny.
Thank you very much. Ironic, really, that he sucked the God out of me. And now he wants something. Should have thought that before.
Yeah. You're going to go sucking God, you better be ready to, you know. Is that what you said?
No.
What are they?
You left out a couple of words. You know what I mean?
What did I leave out?
Suck the God out of me, out of Chuck.
Like, hit the tar out of him. Like, suck the God out of him.
This is more of a, you know.
Oh, yeah. Well, if you'd done that, I would have known. I didn't know this. I thought you were being
If I'd done that, you would have gone. You'd have had a field day on that too.
Thank you for your question.
Thank you.
You.
Hi, so in Nashville, I asked you about the Winchesters episode that y'all are in. So I just want to let you know that I watched it. It was awesome.
Thank you.
Rob, I saw you, and I'm just like so happy that y'all got to be in an episode together and with the band too. Like, that's what I was waiting for from Supernatural, so I'm glad we got to get it now. So I'm just wondering, like, how was that all like? And Rich, people still are a little bit confused online about whether you were the original Loki or Gabriel.
That's okay. I can live with that. Let's talk about the band, because it's fascinating. So it's a really cool series of events that led to the band being involved. And that is, I was not directing the episode that the band is in. That was directed by Amin Kadarali, who's actually directing Walk right now, good buddy of mine. And he wasn't even up there yet to start prepping. I was wrapping up my prep and starting to shoot my episode, and I hear them say, literally just in passing, John Showalter, the showrunner, was like, well, we need a band to go this song, this episode you're in. And I'm like, we're just gonna hire some local dudes. And I'm like, whoa. Don't hire local dudes, hire Loudon Swain. And he's like, I'm not familiar, although Showalter had seen the Station Breaks play a show at the Roxy. So I was like, it's the guys from the Station Breaks with a little bit of a, different lineup a little bit. But they've been playing conventions forever. The fans love them. They're great musicians. They can do whatever you need to do in terms of pre-recording. And they've been on stage for a decade. They'll be totally comfortable in front of the camera. It's a no-brainer. And so I got him thinking. He's like, run it by Robbie Thompson. I call Robbie Thompson, I said, this is what I think we should do. And Robbie, who wants to draw as many eyeballs to the Winchesters as possible, was like, that's a great idea. And that was the wheels were in motion. The X factor was, would Rob be involved or not? Because of the fact that he's obviously a character that if Winchesters has a life that goes on, he'll be involved in the show as an actor. So, you know, Robbie and Rob didn't want to burn out his return to the show in some sort of gimmick. So they strategized on how to work that out. And then, I mean, so many times you think these things are going to work and then you're right down to the end and something happens. But nothing happened. We got it done. The guys did their pre-recording. It took about 2 weeks, I think, to organize it all.
Yeah.
And I sat with all of them the day after we shot and was having a beer at that little dive bar. And I was like, I have done a lot of scheming and conniving and chess playing in my day, but this may be my greatest accomplishment, that I got the entire band of Loud and Speight on TV in an episode that Rob and I were both in. And then Robbie called me, he's like, I don't know what to credit them. I'm like, I do. And we used, for those who don't know, the band started out doing these conventions. The way we were able to sneak them into the convention lineup was that they were a cover band. Literally, they would show up and all be wearing costumes. Go back, you can find this from 10 years ago. And they were called, the banners didn't say Loud and Speight, it was the Elastic Waist Band. And each of the guys wore costumes. And like, Mike wore a big, long, blonde wig. And they all wore 70s outfits. And he was Sir Richard Furlong. Billy wore like this John Travolta white outfit, and we called him Sweet Johnny High Pockets. Norton wore a black wig for a minute.
No wig, yeah.
Wig.
He was Hot Carl with a K.
And Rob wore a blue tuxedo that he wears in
Kings of Con.
As well, and a wig and a headband that says Courage.
Yeah.
And he was Tango. And so when Robbie asked us, like, what do we use for the names of the band? I was like, this is what you use for the names of the band. He's like, genius. So not only did we get the band in there, but their old con names are immortalized in the credits. It brings me such joy. I love it so much.
It was great. It was a lot of fun. And I didn't realize until this moment, I don't think, that if back disguised playing keyboards is God himself sort of keeping an eye on the situation. And there's you, Gabriel, Loki, in the scene, then certainly God and Gabriel had our first scene together.
I know.
I didn't put that together.
We finally have done something.
Part of it too is that when you called me to ask me, because you spoke to the boys separately, and then you spoke to me about doing the show, and we had that conversation, and then later I talked to Robbie Thompson. He was like, I think it'd be fun. Rich will be down here. Rich is in the episode, you know. And I was like, what? Rich? You never mentioned that you're in the episode. In our whole conversation, you never said that.
I was being a businessman.
I know you were. I was like, Rich, it's me. Talk to me. You're not telling me a thing. You're like, all right, here's the deal. You like playing? You like people? You like stages? All right, push yourself on a stage. What are you doing? Rich, it's me. Stop talking that way. All right,
Don't interrupt my monologue.
It's you. It's the stage, right?
Just so you know, whenever Rob imitates me, I'm chewing gum or eating a salad. I'm not sure why. I don't really do either, but...
All right, here we go. So the camera's here. You're on stage, right? Disguised, playing keyboards. You're gonna love it. Everybody's gonna love it. It's already happened. We're shooting tomorrow. Let's go.
We already shot it. Looks great.
That's great. You already flew down here. You shot it. It's great. We cut it. It airs Thursday. What? I don't even...
I'm glad you're happy with that, because no one's happier than I am. Thank you very much. Hey.
I was wondering, as you were starting out directing, say you did a lot of shadowing, so you've now had several people shadow you. What has that process been like for you?
It's interesting. I have had a lot of people shadow me. I shadowed 3 different directors: Tom Wright, Phil Secretia, and Bob Singer, the 3 patriarchs of Supernatural. There's others, John Showalter and others, but those are the 3 gentlemen I shadowed and learned a ton from, because everybody's different. Everybody approaches this job differently. All hoping for the same result, but they approach it differently. And I've had many people shadow me, some people you don't know, but some people you do know. Matt Cohen, Jake Abel, Elena Huffman, Osric Chow. I'm trying to think if there's anybody else that this group would know, but it's been fascinating because, honestly, it's kind of intimidating a little bit, to be honest, because you're trying to figure out what you're going to do. So they see you in your weakest moments of trying to figure things out, which is the point. The point of shadowing is to see how people discover what they're going to do. Because there's an assumption once you see a show, you go, well, of course the guys walked into the door there. And of course they went over to the bar. And of course these things happen. But that's actually not the case. Somebody had to figure out where the door is, what the door would look like, where the bar will be. Will they cross to the bar? When will they cross to the bar? What will happen once they get there? There's all these decisions that have to be made. And it's the director's decision to make it in lockstep with all these other department heads creating the space, how the bar is going to look, how the bar's lighting is going to be, how are we going to shoot it, what's the tone of the fight going to be, all these things. So that discovery part, that discovery process is filled with things that you don't end up doing. Throwing out 3 bad ideas to land on the good one, you know what I mean? And it's intimidating to have people watch you do that, except for the fact that I got to watch other people do that. We'll say this, the people I watched do it. Shoshana Stern also shadowed me. That was a really outstanding experience. People, the gentlemen I shadowed were veterans of decades with hundreds of episodes of TV under their belt. I think by the time I started having people shadow me, I had 10. So I'm still finding my sea legs. That was the one thing. I still felt like I'm kind of learning and could probably shadow some people. But I'm being shadowed, but nonetheless, this is still great. And it forces me to focus on my work in a different way to be sure that I can explain it and why I'm doing what I'm doing. Which, it's like when you're trying to teach somebody something, you have to really figure out why you're doing it and how to explain why you're doing it. And sometimes it even improves how you do it because you're now trying to put it on display. So it's a great education for me. I enjoy it tremendously, and I think that if I can give back any kind of help to anybody in the same way I received it, I'm happy to do it. So, there you go. And thank you very much for the question. Over here.
Good afternoon.
Afternoon.
See you again. And thank you so much for coming out this weekend.
Our pleasure.
Yeah. So my question is, what is your greatest strength and weakness? It's for both of you, by the way.
Greatest strength and weakness, Bobby.
Strength and weakness. Strength and weakness. I think, I think of a lot of weaknesses. I think my greatest strength and my greatest weakness is my sensitivity. I'm a sensitive person, so I feel like I'm very observant, and I'm very sort of like wearing my heart on my sleeve. That really helps as an actor and a writer to sort of really soak in everything that's around you and feel it, to kind of be able to sort of like tell your buddy everything that's going on with you, to put it into a part. I really feel like that's great. It really turns against me though sometimes when you have to have thick skin about something, or someone says something or does something, whatever, and it can make you feel like, act like a 12-year-old all over again, you know what I mean? And my whole life, I've been working to try to balance the two of those, but when I can use it for good, then it's great. If I can harness that into a positive thing, then it can be great. And that's my constant work, is it's not going to the dark place. So, yeah.
That's interesting that you used your pro and con were the same thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting. I'm gonna say something similar. I think, I wish I were smarter. I wish I were a better read. I wish I read more. I wish I have, a short attention span, so it makes, I was an okay student, but only because I fought like hell to be an okay student. It doesn't come naturally to me. But I think that's tied into what I think my weakness and strength is. I think my strength is, and this is recent, this is not a strength I've had with my whole life. This is within the last 5 years. I think one of my greatest strengths is being very comfortable with discomfort and completely understanding what I don't understand. I feel very confident about not knowing something. Does that make sense? I don't have a problem going to a room full of people and going, I don't understand what we're talking about. You got to break it down for me. And in my youth, I would have rather been shot in the face than do that. I wanted to feel like if I walked in a room to do an assignment, I use directing as a great example. And and there's so much to figure out. And I learn every episode, and it's always too big and unshootable. And I'm in a situation right now. I'm not sleeping at night. The show I'm trying to direct right now is so massive that I'm struggling to stay above water. But I'll get there, and the episode will be a blast, and I'll have a great time doing it, and I'll be proud of the work. But I have to go in confident about not what I don't know. I have to be comfortable not knowing. Because otherwise, I don't ask the questions. If I don't ask the questions, I don't get the answers. If I don't get the answers, I can't do the work. If I don't do the work, I don't get to do it again. So it's one of the things that I've learned to embrace. Is I really, really, really can feel and live comfortably in my discomfort and my lack of knowledge. Because only through that comfort am I able to find the comfort and find the knowledge. Thank you for your question. Appreciate it.
My name is Victor. Just wanted to say thank you both for two amazing characters, God and Gabriel. Real quick, Rob, I know that your story ended with God dying, but my question is, do you feel like you wish maybe God would have had a little more of a redemption and maybe could have came back around and been somebody that maybe ended on more of a better note?
I do.
Sam and Dean?
I do, yeah, for sure. I mean, because most of the time I was on the show, I was you liked Chuck, and as fun as it was to play the dark Chuck in the last season, it would have been fun to sort of have that redemption, absolutely. But you just have to go, okay, well, the show needed it to end like that, and God is still alive now in Jack. It would have been nice. I like a fan told me one time they had this theory that Chuck was still writing all of that. So I thought it would be like cute if in the show ended, last shot of Supernatural, and then the book closed and Chuck is there and winks at the camera or something. I don't know but that didn't happen. So yeah, no, it would have been nice to have redemption, but man, I was just so fortunate that I got to be a part of it through the end of the show. I was just lucky to be able to work with my friends, and I had such a good time working on that show, so I was just count on my blessings, But yeah, sure, if I could go back, that would be, if I was a writer, get that in there.
Thank you.
Oh, sorry. Thanks, man.
You're there.
I feel like I know you guys already because every Monday morning, before I talk to my kids, before I talk to my husband, I like hanging out with you guys. I love the podcast. It's amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love listening to it. And I'm just wondering, do you have any, like a wish list of guests? You've had such great guests already. Kind of what's your wish list of guests you hope to get on the show?
Well, I think that's going to be a moving target forever because it's great to have the guests we've had. I can name two, and then I'll talk to you, Rob, if there's any. And this will change as we go deeper into seasons.
We're talking about the Rewatch podcast.
Yeah, Supernatural Then and Now. We're talking about Supernatural Then and Now, the Rewatch podcast, hosted by Rob Benedict and Richard Speight Jr., available for free wherever you get your podcasts.
Also, if you're into podcasts, we do another podcast, a lot more, just Rich and I talking, called the Kings of Con podcast.
Kings of Con podcast, Kings of Con podcast. Also available for free wherever you get your podcasts. Now, two dream guests, I'll name two. Rob, you can name one or two if you have them. Sterling K. Brown.
Yeah.
And Eric Kripke.
Yes.
Eric Kripke we will eventually get.
Yep.
Sterling K. Brown might be a little tougher. We're trying though, and a lot of times if you're listening to the podcast and you think, why didn't they get blah blah blah?
We tried.
And
it's not like Sterling is going, no, it's not even getting to him.
We can't.
You have trouble getting around
the movie star.
Yeah, the representatives. But, Misha Collins, I can't wait till Castiel. We're almost to Castiel. I mean,
yeah, we're thinking we might have him. It seems like it would be smart.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of what we've seen already.
I mean, some of them you can't say yet. We don't know because we're going to discover.
Right.
Rob and I haven't watched the show, so we don't even know who we're not having yet.
Jillian McNiven we'll have on. That'll be fun.
Yeah. And it'll be great to have Jared and Jensen on again, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and Sam Smith. Yes, we'd love to have Sam Smith.
Yeah.
Several people, and continuing to have the wonderful directors on. I love having the crew on. It's fantastic. I learned so much every single time from every department.
Hey, let's see if we can get Paris Hilton on. What season is that? That's like season 5, I think.
I don't know. Yeah, let's try it.
Let's try it.
Sarah Gamble. There's somebody else.
Sarah Gamble would be
Sarah's
great.
a bit tough to get because she's been super busy. Love to have Sarah Gamble. Jeremy Carver will be fun to have.
Yep.
The showrunners, after we have Kripke, to have the other showrunners. One I'll end on that's a bummer, and we tried, was Nikki Acox. We lost her. She passed away. We had no idea she was so sick. She blew me away in that show. And I've known Nikki for a lot of years, just sort of peripherally. She dated a good friend of mine for a while, so I knew her, and I've seen her conventions, and she's lovely. So even before Supernatural, I knew her. And she's so good in season 1. She is so good. And everything she does in Supernatural, she's so good. And we had reached out to her, obviously, and had gotten a message back either from her or her rep saying, hey, she's a little under the weather, but she'll get back in touch, and she'd love to do the show. And then, of course, we all heard the horrible news. And so, you know, Rob and I did our best version of a tribute to her on the podcast. The show went for 15 years, but it could have gone for 15 minutes had it not been done well. The first recurring guest star on that show, the first person to come in and take it in a dark direction that was a recurring storyline, the first person to be leaned on as a core member of that cast who wasn't Jared Jensen was Nikki Acox. And she absolutely raised the bar for everybody who followed her footsteps. She absolutely knocked the leather off the ball. She gave us all a huge gift because without her talent, without her three-dimensional creation of a character that you both loved and hated, who knows if the show propels itself. I'm not joking. Like this, especially early on, it's so fragile, a new show. Everything has to matter. Every swing has to be a hit. Every hit has to be a triple or a home run. And Kim Manners brought her in because he had worked with her on something else, and she just absolutely played level ball with Jared Jensen, didn't miss a step, and did us all tremendous service by being so great. She set the standard that everybody else behind her had to come and strive to achieve. So, you know, my hat's off to Nikki Acox. I miss her. We're lucky to have her on TV, and we're lucky to have her in our show and in our world to review and revisit whenever we care to.
Rest in peace.
Thank you for your question.
I was wondering, I know that the Machete has strong feelings about the Kings of Con podcast.
Yes.
And she has growing beef with Rob on the Kings of Con
Yes,
podcast.
correct.
And I personally would like to know more about what the Machete does in her work and stuff.
I don't think we know.
Is there any way we could get the Machete as a guest on the podcast?
No. I mean, that's just my guess. I don't think the Machete is Richard's wife.
Yeah.
Whose bottom I lusted after.
Yeah.
And
you might know her better as the bottom, Rob.
but yeah, she's. But I mean, it's your wife.
So here's the thing about the Machete. You got to know about the Machete. Machete's one of the most impressive people I've ever met. I paint her as
oppressive?
Impressive. No. To you, oppressive. But she is mother to 3 boys who are all excellent young men because of her leadership. She is a piano player whose sight reads sheet music. She put herself through college as a smoke jumper. She rappelled out of helicopters and fought forest fires with a chainsaw and shovel to put herself through college. She then got into the internet business and has been in that business was early on when it was all an idea. She moved to San Francisco from her tiny little hometown and got a job and rose to the ranks to SVP of that company, ended up being SVP of digital for CBS Interactive, moved over to GoPro to help start a media division there, and has been the COO of a gaming and lifestyle brand called FaZe Clan for the last 3 years. The Hollywood Reporter did a spread on her during COVID about women working from home. She is seriously one of the most impressive people I've ever married. Ever met.
Wow. So, that's high honor. She's been a lot of wives. There's been a lot of wives, this one. God bless them.
Well,
she's number 5, and we think it's going to stay.
One is my motto. But she's really one of the most impressive people I know. And the only the X factor with her that my friends love to point out is she has strange taste in men. That's the one thing. I remember at my wedding, I had my buddies who came back to, by the way, we'll be married 20 years this year. This will be our 20 years. My buddies we were back about to go down it wasn't an aisle, we got married outside, but kind of about to get ready, get going. And they came back like, hey man, full house, everybody's looking good out there. A lot of people rumbling on your side of the aisle going, wow, Richard just knocked it out of the park. Oh, good Lord, is he, punching above his weight class. This is something else. A lot of smiles and nods. A lot of silence on the other side of the aisle, and uncomfortable shifting and shrugging to each other. I remember my best friend in the world, Sam Klein, who was the best man at my wedding. When he first met my wife, JC, he's like, so what do you see in Rich? He's like, oh, he's so funny, he's great, and he makes you laugh, and And Sam goes, no, seriously. What do you see in Rich? She's a great person. Machete will never do our podcast because she's actually a bit of the shyer type, not because she's, I'll give JC a lot of credit. JC is, if you want to see what my wife looks like, aside from the internet, is I met her making a movie. She's actually in a movie. The movie's called North Beach. It's the first thing I ever directed. And it's only available on Roku. It was a tiny little movie that we made for no money. And it was on Netflix for years, but it's gone, and now I see it's on Roku. But it's called North Beach, and my wife is in it for a hot minute. That's how I actually met her. She's never acted a day in her life. She was friends with the gentleman I co-directed with, and we needed somebody hot to come and be in the scene, and she agreed to do it. And then 6 months later, we didn't start dating then, but 6-7 months later we started dating. The rest is history, but really, by nature, she's a shy person. The best acting she does is acting mean on our podcast, because I hate to spoil it for you, but it's a bit. She's actually Rob Benedict's biggest fan and loves it when we do creative stuff, and there's not a bigger fan of Kings of Con than my wife. She thinks we're hilarious, so.
She's really good on the podcast because, just now we were talking to her backstage. She was like, Rob Benedict, when are you going to come see me? Because they live up the street from me. But in the podcast, the other day, she walked in the room, and Rich was like, hey, look, it's the Machete. And she's like, not now, I'm not in the mood.
Yeah, she does her part brilliantly. It's really great. And just so people know, a lot of people said, is Machete kind of a mean nickname? Like, it seems like a harsh nickname. We call her the Machete because she was a firefighter. That's where that terminology was from, is because she used to carry an axe and carry, the engagement invite that my buddy drew up is her, leaping out of the sky to stomp out me on fire. It's always been, all my friends and myself have always been so impressed with her power and strength that the Machete is actually a term of affection that she has embraced years before there was ever a podcast. It just, now we've turned it to make it its own sort of character. Thank you for asking about my wife. I rarely get a chance to talk about her, but if you ever get the chance to meet her, or read about her.
Give the phone number out.
Do it. In fact, I'll give your address, and I'll have JC go to your house.
I read the Hollywood Reporter article about JC.
Oh, you saw it? Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And I just want to say, for every time you guys have seen me on the stage and you're glad to have me at a convention, you should be thanking my wife who's raising 3 boys while I come and play on the stage. She's doing the heavy lifting. I'm coming here being a goofball, and I'm only able to do it because our family dynamic allows for it. She's the reason why I get to go shadow 3 directors. She's the reason why I get to pursue my art, because she is the rock, she is stable, and she is supportive. So I can't thank her. And you, over here. Good afternoon.
So since you both have musical careers, I was wondering who your biggest inspirations are musically, and if there's anyone you'd ever like to do a song with.
I'm going to answer quickly because Rob's really the guy with the musical career, but I will say this. REM. I listen to a million bands. 2 bands affected me more than any other artist. REM and Soul Coughing. REM got me from 7th grade through college, and then Soul Coughing took over in my early 20s and became, Ruby Vroom is one of my favorite albums of all time. So Soul Coughing, and then previous to that, REM.
I love both those groups also. So many bands have influenced me. I was the youngest of 4 kids, and so in the 70s, I grew up listening to vinyl records that belonged to my sister, and she really liked Sly and the Family Stone and Earth, Wind and Fire, and those are some of the earliest albums I listened to. And then she got into Boston and some of those rock bands at that time. And then, the 80s, Prince, U2, REM.
So who do you like to do a song with? Say, you could pick. Pretend, go on a limb with me. Say you're God.
Right. Well, I'm getting to that. So in the 90s, I was way into the grunge thing, and I really had a thing for Pearl Jam. I just really loved Pearl Jam, and loved Eddie Vedder and the way he was in front of people. And I dream about singing on stage with Pearl Jam. I actually have a recurring dream where I'm singing with him, and it feels so real that he brings me on. He's one of those famous people that I'm like, we'd be friends. I think we'd be friends. Anyway, so yeah, that's my dream, is singing with Eddie Vedder.
I have a follow-up. So that dream is you singing with Pearl Jam, though, right?
With Eddie. But
Right,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
because I have a follow-up question that's specific.
Okay.
So it's Pearl Jam. It's you and Eddie. Now, what artist, and it could be Eddie Vedder or a solo artist, would you want to come sing with Loud and Swain? Like, they come on and it's your band,
right,
and they're doing a number with you.
Wow. Dave Grohl.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That would be awesome.
You see when Dave Grohl brought Rick Astley out and they did
Yes.
Never Gonna Give You Up?
Yeah.
The Rock?
Yeah.
I mean, that was so awesome.
Awesome. And he's such a fan of all music styles.
I know. I feel like Dave Grohl is like the greatest example of what a lot of us would be like if we were super famous. Meaning, like, Dave Grohl became super famous, and now he does with his superpower what I would love to do, which is go find your favorite people, and you know, go write a song with Paul McCartney, bring up Rick Astley, like cover the you know, Baker Street, you know, song, like do these crazy things because he's super famous. He's Dave Grohl and he can. And people look up to him. And like,
he's beloved by everyone.
I know.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I want to be his friend too.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Over here.
Hi, Robin Rage.
Hi.
Anna.
Hi.
So my question is for both of you, because I am a mother of a 5-year-old son, and so my legacy I want to leave my son is to be just a great person and help people. So what is your legacy for your children that you want to leave?
I mean,
There's a quiet moment I just heard.
I know. Well, we have a serious question on the table.
I'm just buying you more time to think about a decent answer.
I would say, like, being a loving father, showing them love. My every situation with my kids, I'm just loving them and showing love in various capacities, whether it's schooling them or correcting them or encouraging them. It's all through love, and you know, I guess that's. I want to be as much I want to be their parent, and I also want to be their friend. I'm their biggest champion, and it's my kids are older now, so my son's in college, so it kind of shifts gears a little bit when your kids get older. But my son and I have a really special relationship. It's father-son, but it's also more than that. And I guess it's just love, you know. That there is love in our family and in our relationship.
It's really beautiful to see. And a moment that I really remember is when Calvin came to Rob to say he'd heard of this.
Calvin's my son.
Yes, I heard of this amazing band called Radiohead, you know, from this TV show. And Rob's brain nearly melted.
It was one of my proudest moments as a father. My son was like, I love this Radiohead band. You should play me more of their songs. I'm like, oh my God. I was like, immediate playlist. Let's send it to him. What about you, Rich?
Similar to Rob's, I think I have 3 sons, and one of the mantras in the Speight home is always be a gentleman. Always be a gentleman. That doesn't just mean be nice to women. It means be nice. Be kind. Defer to kindness whenever the situation provides you 2 choices. Because it's always the right thing to do. Be it in person, be it online, whatever it is, be nice. And we are in a time where, rightly so, and this may sound old-fashioned, but we obviously need to level the playing field. Women have been underpaid for years. People other than white guys haven't been given the opportunities they deserve. All of these things need to level out. They need to level out. However, it'll always be the right thing to open a door for a lady. It will always be the right thing to stand up when they come to the table. I don't think manners and progress live in opposition. I think manners are the fuel that drive the equality we so desperately need. When you stop and realize how valuable people are, because we are the same, and yet we are different. I will never know what it's like to be a mother. I will never bear children. I will never have that gift or that challenge. And I think that men need to always recognize that it is exactly both those things, a gift and a challenge, and we need to honor that in our daily existence while also allowing them to be the excellent equals that they deserve to be.
It's a blessing to be a mother, but I do appreciate your answer and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I came out at the right moment.
I know.
we were talking about chocolate and stuff yesterday.
Well, it's been a lot of, we had some goofy stuff, and we had a couple serious curveballs thrown our way.
Yeah, we got JC's resume.
I know.
I'm gonna hire her after this.
Hi.
Hello. My question is, if you were the ruler of your own country, what would the first law you would introduce?
I'm gonna go now.
No.
Okay.
Well, you're the closest to the question. What would be the law?
The law is that there must be a champagne fountain and chocolate fountain beside
You're
each
not
other.
being serious. I want a serious answer from you. What would be the law that you would want?
Treat other people the way you would like to be treated yourself.
Can that be a law? Can it be illegal to not treat people the way you want to be treated?
It is in her country, man.
I like living in her chocolate champagne country. In chocolate champania.
What about you, Richard Speight?
Ooh, that's a tough one. It's a good question. What law would I pass?
Oh, can I go back?
Yeah. Please God.
This is like a commandment. Thou shalt signal thy turn. If thou is driving automobile.
Fair. Good one. I would make Election Day a national paid holiday.
Yeah.
But here's how it works. I've thought about this before. But you have to show a voucher showing you voted to get paid for that day. So it's a national holiday. If you want to F off and go voting, have at it. But you're not going to get paid for the day. However, if you go to the polls and make your opinion known for the leadership of your county or country, then you will also be paid for the day's work, even though you weren't there to do it, because you took your time to do your civic responsibility. That would be a lot of fun. Because participation matters so much. It doesn't matter how you vote, it matters that you vote. There you go. None of my speech. Robert?
Well, I'll tell you what there wouldn't be. There wouldn't be any laws against anyone based on their sexuality, their orientation, their color, creed, or religion. Truly, it would be a free country where everyone is included all the time and could do and marry whoever they want and be whatever they want and whoever they want. That's my
That's a great answer. And that's the end of our panel time.
That's the end of our panel. Thank you, special guest star Ruth Bonnell.
And that's Rob Benedict.
And that's Richard Speight Jr.
And hey, boys, are we ready to do the? All right. We're gonna.
Are we ready?